initiatives. Mark Mahaney, of course, with RBC, joins us to talk about that. Morning, Mark. Good to see you.
Good morning, Carl.
You talk about marketplace and shops and reels, and then you do point out one potential headwind as it pertains to the Apple identification of ads in their app store, which the company talked about just the other day.
Yeah, I think the real new thing in our report here is just focused on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace has been growing, if you will, under the hood for the last 3 years. It's something that I haven't really spent a lot of time on in the past. It didn't seem like it was gaining a lot of traction, but when we did a recent check on it, we think they have over 1 billion users, which actually makes them 2 times the size of eBay, 12 times the size of Craigslist. They're even bigger than Alibaba's Taobao property. I mean, this is a massive global marketplace. And when we've looked at what they've done with the product, they made it a lot easier to buy and sell products there. It's very, very lightly monetized. So it's rare that you see an asset like this that's got a 1 billion user segment that's almost completely unmonetized. So that was kind of the big so what for us as we looked at the business. We continue to think this is a great year for social commerce. You know, this year has been, 2020 has been known as the year for the acceleration in online retail, also acceleration, though, in social media usage for a variety of different reasons. And I think that has created this social commerce opportunity, which Facebook outside of Marketplace is still really well positioned for. We think Reels is probably going to be taking advantage of the woes of TikTok, which is unfortunate for TikTok, but this is an opportunity for Reels. There is this headwind that we wanted to point out with IDFA, but we just don't think it's material. We think it's less than a 1% revenue impact. This remains one of our top picks in large cap internet.
I mean, would you argue that the Reels narrative is still in its infancy, and what would it take to really show that it is benefiting from whatever does happen to TikTok?
I think the win for Facebook is going to be whether this leads to rising engagement. TikTok has proven something very clearly, which is that there is dramatic, massive demand for short-form user-generated content, algorithmically driven, mobile-first video. It's captivating, and it's captured a heck of a lot of attention. So Reels has got a product that, in our opinion, is competitive with. It's by no means better than TikTok, but you give it a couple iterations, it can be just as good as TikTok. They certainly have the data to feed algorithms to make your Reels experience just as personalized as TikTok's has become for a lot of people. And then there's this open question of what's going to happen to TikTok, and it either gets acquired or it gets cut up and only part of the business gets acquired. And one of the things that's almost certainly going to come out of that is a stymieing of innovation. That's what happens when these companies get acquired. Their innovation can be stymied for 6-12 months. You give Reels that opportunity. You open the door that wide. It's a real opportunity for Facebook to catch up. So I think that's underappreciated as well.
Mark, you mentioned that the marketplace business is very lightly monetized, right? So Facebook is not really looking to extract a whole lot there in terms of the take. Do you expect that that's going to change? In other words, does the company intend to monetize it more intensely down the road? What would that mean for, I guess, the competitive dynamics, and can it move the needle relative to advertising in the overall model?
Yeah, those are the right set of questions, Mike. I think to their credit, Facebook has always been driven by growth. I think they get some criticism for that, but this is a management team that's hyper-focused on growth, P&L growth, revenue growth. And here you have a new asset that I think is going to be relatively easily monetizable. They already have some ad units in there. They can also take signals from that, what you're searching for in Marketplace, and put more relevant ads in front of you when you're on Facebook, core Facebook, or when you're in Instagram. And then look, it's a marketplace model. There are dozens of these out there in the market, and they can, through listing fees, final value fees, payment fees, this may be the asset that really allows Facebook's a pay product to really take off. You put all that together, you can get a 5% take rate. We call that a marketplace light model. You could do that, and you can see a pathway to billions in incremental revenue in 2 to 3 years. It's not that hard if you got an asset with that much commercial intent, because it's a marketplace, and with the kind of tonnage of traffic that Facebook can direct over it.
Do those new monetization models offset some of the issues surrounding reputational risk, boycotts by big brands? There was a report out yesterday showing that brands like McDonald's and Coca-Cola and Unilever were all still withdrawing their ad spending on the platform ever since they did so starting in July over issues surrounding hate speech, disinformation, and so forth. 1,100 brands joining that boycott. Does that make a difference? Do some of these newer monetization models, help kind of offset some of those issues?
I think you just highlighted there's one of two wild cards still here in the near term for Facebook. One is whether they definitely handle this political pressure around moderating, cutting off hate speech on the platform. So the news has kind of died down. That's in Facebook's favor, but this stuff could quickly flare back up. The other unknown issue, of course, is this election that's coming up. The way Facebook handled foreign intervention in their marketplace 4 years ago led to almost a 2-year brand discount, if you will, brand damage discount on the stock, a couple of multiple points. The same thing could happen this time if they're not super careful. If we're, 5 months from now talking about who won the election and how it was manipulated, how Facebook was manipulated again, like it was in 2016, you're going to have another overhang on Facebook shares. So there's two near-term wildcard risks here for Facebook.
Good summation of your note, Mark. Appreciate it very much. Good to see you.
Thank you, Carl.
2020 has seen 111 U.S. IPOs raising over $37 billion, the most since 2014. Palantir, Airbnb among the biggest names expected